So this review has taken a little longer than I expected, mainly because I've just spent 2 weeks in Japan putting the iPhone 16 Pro through its absolute paces, especially the camera. When it comes to the design of the iPhone 16 Pro, at first glance, the 16 Pro looks pretty much exactly the same as the 15 Pro. But something which I think a lot of people don't realize is that the standard size Pro model is actually now bigger. It's gone from 6.1 inches to 6.3 inches. I always go with the standard Pro as I personally just prefer the size over the Pro Max. You'd think though, from seeing comments online, that an iPhone mini would be in demand. Why doesn't Apple make one? Simply because people don't actually buy small phones. Fun fact, Apple's larger variants of phones, like the Pro Max, are actually by far the most popular. On this new 16 Pro, the bezels are also smaller, but honestly, it really is not that noticeable compared to the 15 Pro. It's only when you compare it to something like a 13 Pro, which I have here, where you can really see the difference. There is also a new desert titanium color for the 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max. I was considering it until I saw it in person. It's actually more sort of like a blush color. I think it looks a little feminine. I was expecting it to look more like gold, so I ended up sticking with the natural titanium, which I think a lot of my subscribers will actually be surprised at why didn't I go for black. But I actually think the natural titanium looks superior and classier than the black. Camera control. So Apple have added a new button, which they don't seem to want to call a button. They're specifically calling it camera control. What I am surprised at is that it's also available on the standard 16, which is very un-Apple-like. Usually they like to introduce a new feature on a Pro model and then bring it to the lower models a year later on. So this is good news for standard 16 buyers. Or is it? Because I'm going to be honest, guys, I just don't think this feature is all that great. I was so excited to see Apple introducing camera control. I thought it was going to be game-changing and really transform the way I take pictures. But it really hasn't done that at all. The way it works is that you press down to bring up the camera. You can then press again to take a picture, or you can hold it down to take a video quickly. You can also lightly double press to bring up the settings you want to adjust, things like exposure and which camera you want to use. The thing is though, I just find it a bit too finicky. I don't think it's really all that intuitive. There's something about it that it just doesn't sort of work as well as I thought it would. But the biggest issue for me is the placement. When using it landscape, the button is just too far up the side of the phone. Your index finger doesn't naturally rest there, so you have to slide it over, which results in an uncomfortable way of holding the phone. When using it portrait, I have exactly the same issue. I think it's just too low for my thumb. My thumb naturally rests around where the sleep wake button is. Getting my thumb to the camera control requires me bringing up the phone in my hand, which actually results in a less secure hold of the phone itself. I also found that when trying to use the camera control to take a picture one-handed, it's resulted in quite a few more blurry pictures. You can see I have to flex my thumb to press the button, which naturally results in some movement. What's funny is I actually think the most useful feature of the camera control for me is simply activating the camera app very quickly. I can quickly pull out the phone whilst hitting the button at the same time to activate the camera to take a picture very quickly. I think the idea of camera control is fantastic, but I feel like the implementation itself just isn't right yet. It just doesn't feel all that intuitive. When it comes to the camera itself, as expected, the pictures that come out of the iPhone are just amazing. In my unboxing video, I did unfortunately incorrectly state that the sensor is larger on the main camera. It is not. It is the same as the 15 Pro, which is actually the same as the 14 Pro. So if you're hoping to see a drastically better image quality, upgrading from a 14 Pro, there really won't be much difference, to be honest with you. However, the ultra wide is now 48 megapixels, which is great. You get a lot more detail out of the pictures, but the ultra wide is definitely better performing in well lit scenes. I actually don't use the ultra-wide that much, purely because it's just not as good as the main camera. If you are someone who does use the ultra-wide often, you are going to have much higher resolution images now. The telephoto lens is now the same in both the Pro and the Pro Max. Last year, the Pro had the 3x telephoto and the Pro Max had the 5x telephoto, but Apple have unified it now, giving you the 5x on both, which is equivalent to a 120mm lens. The main camera is my favorite though, and the one I use the most, and for one primary reason. The sensor is the largest out of all three cameras. A larger sensor usually means better image quality, better low light performance, and more depth of field. It's why professional cameras have larger sensors. I primarily shoot in ProRAW, which gives you the most flexibility when it comes to editing the pictures later on. Apple apply their own algorithm to the images that I think for most people is great. They'll be very happy with the results. But with this being a Pro iPhone, I want to use it in a pro manner. So shooting in ProRAW and then editing the images helps me get the look that I want. I have no sponsor for this video, so I'm going to promote one of my own products. I recently launched iPhoneCreatorCourse.com, where I've put together everything I know about the iPhone camera, and it's designed to help people get the most out of the iPhone camera. I share all of the settings that I use to get super high quality images, and it includes all of my presets so that you can get the most out of the images. So if you do want to take your iPhone camera skills to the next level, make sure to check it out. When it comes to the shots that I get with the iPhone, some of the shots I get even surprise me. There's just something very natural looking about them when shooting the way I like to shoot. They almost look like they could be shot with a professional mirrorless camera. This night shot in particular was very impressive to me. I feel like it really captures the mood and the vibe that you'd get from a quiet Tokyo alleyway. I also have this sunset shot of the Dubai skyline, and it's probably one of my favorite pictures of all time. It just blows my mind that this was shot on an iPhone. With a larger sensor, you also get more natural background blur. These pictures are taken in the standard camera setting. I want to make that very clear. These are not shot in portrait mode. And as you can see, the subject is super sharp and clear with the background nice and blurry. I just think it looks incredible. I really do believe in the idea that the best camera is the one you always have on you. I always have my iPhone on me. So being able to pull it out of my pocket and take incredible pictures like this is invaluable to me. I'm capturing moments in my life that I'll be able to look back on in the future, which is why I love taking pictures. Even with all of the professional cameras I have, I still take a lot more pictures with my iPhone just because it's so convenient. When it comes to battery life, to be honest with you, I feel like there is no proper way to test battery life. Apple do say on their website that the 16 Pro can now do 5 more hours of video playback, so the battery life is supposed to be better. But it's just going to vary so much from person to person. I found that I personally can easily go from morning to evening with fairly normal usage, especially when I was in Japan, as I was using my phone to navigate around the different cities, taking a lot of pictures and videos, also browsing Instagram, Twitter, and checking emails along the way. And yeah, no problem getting into the evening. By the time it got to around 7 PM, 8 PM, I could see that I was down to around 30 to 20%, and I knew I'd need to charge it. If you are a heavy user, it's definitely worth considering a battery bank like the one I have here. So Apple Intelligence, one of the most prominent new features that Apple keeps advertising is Apple Intelligence that you can get with the iPhone. Basically AI on your iPhone to enhance the experience. But most surprisingly, with all of the marketing they've put behind it, it's not out yet and it isn't available for iPhone buyers. And even then, when it does come out, I think it's only going to be out in a few regions. So all of this marketing they've put behind it, yeah, it's quite surprising to me. It doesn't really seem Apple-like, but I am still looking forward to trying it out when they do release it properly, because I do think it will enhance the iPhone experience. We can see AI becoming more and more popular everywhere. It's just a shame we don't have it right now. Other than that, there really isn't much else to say about the iPhone 16 Pro. This might be the lightest update to their primary line of iPhone in years. I don't even think it's worth upgrading if you're coming from a 14 Pro. You just won't see a significant amount of difference. If you have a 13 Pro though, and you're thinking of upgrading, do it. The cameras will be so much better. You'll be able to take much better images and sort of just have a better experience, because the phone will also be a lot faster. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, where I'm going to be showing a lot more pictures that I've shot with my iPhone, and subscribe for more.